I can already hear the lamentations of the woke. This game wasn't made for you. It isn't. That's why I'm not going to buy it. And then when it fails, these evil gamers were to blame. They didn't buy our LGBTQ plus propaganda. How dare they? They're such evil bigots. That's exactly what is going to happen after Dragon Age the Veilguard completely fails. And numerous people are predicting it. It's not just me, especially after they released their latest character trailer showing off the absolutely horrid modern audience designs for the game. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and there you already see one of the absolutely hideous character designs. This, I have no idea what this character is. It is clearly some kind of gender-confused Kunari. My guess is this is literally a self-insert for the game's director. This is what this character is. But let's get into this here. BioWare released a brief character trailer introducing a number of characters that will appear in the company's upcoming Dragon Age the Veilguard game, and players are expressing their concern and distaste. So here is the brief trailer on X. Let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to be pausing it so we can get a look at these characters.
This crew.
So there's Davrin, the black male warden.
Need to leave.
Emmerich, the old white, like French noble necromancer. Lucanus, I'm not really sure what he is. He's a mage killer. It's hard to tell. Looks like he could be like Eastern European or potentially Arab or something like that. Hard to tell. Nev is a black female who also happens to be disabled. Looks like she has lost at least one of her legs and has kind of like restored it through some kind of mechanical creation.
One we can count.
Harding is a female dwarf. Balara, oops, let's go back there real quick. Balara looks to be some kind of Asian woman. And they're calling her a veil jumper. Basically, it looks like a ripoff of like America Chavez. That's what it sounds like. Look. And then here's Tosh, the gender confused
Someone that.
And then you can see some of the weapons that they're using. Does not look like anything out of Dragon Age. This looks like what a lot of people are comparing it to is Fortnite or Overwatch. That's indeed what it looks like. This does not look like Dragon Age. It does not look like the dark kind of Western medieval dark fantasy that gamers came to know and love with Dragon Age Origins, which is still by and far the best Dragon Age game they have ever created, that BioWare has ever created. This just looks, it looks like it's been modern audience. I'm going to steal that from Endymion, which we'll get to. If you want to watch the longer trailer, they do kind of have a longer trailer, which gives a little bit more details about these characters. You can see more of the character designs. I will have the link to this article in the description below. So if you want to, you can check that out. But the trailer on YouTube is getting absolutely butchered. It has 31,000 likes and over 144,000 dislikes. It only has 1.1 million views. That means over 12% of people who watched the trailer disliked it. That is enormous. 12% of people disliking this trailer who watched it. That is a huge, huge negative ratio there. And then this is what people are saying. One user says, you either die as Dragon Age or live long enough to see yourself become Fortnite, obviously mocking the game based on a kind of paraphrase of the quote from Dark Knight. Another question, is this what Duncan died for? Obviously the warden from the first game. One user wrote, this game is going to sell a lot of copies of Dragon Age Origins. That's a probably accurate prediction because this game is going to be absolute trash and people are going to be wanting to go back and playing the better game. We've seen this kind of phenomenon happen. Obviously, you look at the Fallout television show and you saw people kind of going out and buying Fallout 4, at least going back and playing Fallout 4 on Steam. Massive amounts of player increase there after that Prime Video show released earlier this year. We have another question. I've waited 10 years for a cartoon. Yes, I think that is accurate. The The character design, the game design, the aesthetics look nothing like Dragon Age at all anymore. Doesn't look like Dragon Age. It looks like a completely new game. We've got another here questioning, how do we go from dark fantasy to Saturday morning cartoons? Another posted, the real reason why YouTube removed dislikes is this trailer was the reason why, because it's so bad. Accurate. Another one compared the game to the financial disaster of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, saying Suicide, Veilguard, Kill the Dragon Age. Sounds about accurate. Another predicted that EA would be shutting down BioWare following the release of the game. EA closing BioWare in 3, 2, 1 is what that person wrote. And then another wrote this. Oh, yes, Baldur's Gate 3 looks more like Dragon Age than Dragon Age itself. It definitely feels like Baldur's Gate 3 at least has the aesthetic of the Dragon Age game, where this game does not look like it has that aesthetic whatsoever. And again, these are just the top 9 comments on the YouTube channel. I mean, you can go through it. There's hundreds of them, just absolutely roasting this game and that character trailer. On X, people were also destroying it. Endymion, as I said, I kind of stole this from him. He said, none of the characters look very interesting. They all look like they've been modern audienced. F me, BioWare. Exactly. I mean, you've got literally a disabled Black woman. You've got all the diversity check boxes with all the ethnicities, all the races. You've got the Asian woman. You've got the Black male warden. You've got the gender confused alien Kunari. You've got a white female dwarf woman. You've got what else? The Middle Eastern, like Lucanus, like Eastern European guy who looks like he's a vampire or something. He's the mage killer. And then you've got some like French noble guy, I guess, Emmerich, who's a necromancer. And then obviously you have the player character, which they don't actually reveal because there's probably a significant character creator in it. But it definitely does indeed look like it has been modern audience with all the checkboxes. I mean, they literally created a disabled Black woman and put it into the game. It doesn't get any more checkbox, any more modern audience than that. It's a literal meme, and they stuck it in the game. You can't make it up now. I mean, the parodies, they are literally taking the parodies, taking the satire, and putting it in the games now. These people are doing this on purpose. It's very clear. We've got YouTuber Minimal Effort Gaming. He wrote this. They Kathleen Kennedy'd the crap out of this. Exactly. They stuck a female in it, made it lame and gay. It's exactly what they've done to Dragon Age. We've got Max MK3. He says this looks like dog water. Everything from the heinous character designs, music, and the overall silly tone. Hard pass on this trash. This person appears to be a Star Wars fan, but also a Dragon Age fan. They wrote, 1 is a gritty, mature Dragon Age we fell in love with. Obviously, I think this is referring to maybe the original Dragon Age Origins here. I'm not exactly sure what that art is from. And then obviously the other, a checkmark Overwatch clone. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's what it looks like, with kind of like a wearing Dragon Age as a skin suit. But this isn't surprising. We did know that they recently changed the game's name from Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which has that kind of dark fantasy vibe to it, to Dragon Age the Veilguard, which does feel like more of like that Overwatch 2, less dark fantasy and kind of more of I don't even know what you call it, joke fantasy. I don't know. It just doesn't sound as menacing. It doesn't have kind of the gravitas that you have with Dreadwolf, the Veilguard. It just, I don't know. It sounds childish, and that's kind of what they're kind of giving it in the game here. And then they explain that the change in the title is because they did not want to put the focus on the enemy, but rather the player and his companions. And this is what the blog post said. Naturally, the Dreadwolf still has an important part in this tale, but you and your companions, not your enemies, are the heart of this new experience. So to capture what this game is all about, we changed the name, as the original title didn't show just how strongly we feel about our new heroes, their stories, and how you'll need to bring them together to save all of Thedas. We proudly introduce to you Dragon Age, the Veilguard. And I'm guessing because you have to bring them all together, there isn't going to be a lot of conflict between the various characters. I always felt like in Dragon Age Origins, there was lots of conflict between the various characters. And sometimes if you, depending on the choices that you made, like some of the companions would be cut off and you wouldn't be working with them anymore. They did not like you. This all comes in the wake of the game's director, a man who pretends to be a woman and uses the name Corrine Bush, claiming the game is inherently queer. He did this back in 2022. He says, as a queer trans woman, that's right, this is a man who is into women and claims to be a woman, though. Is mentally ill. Mentally ill people are making these games. I have perspective on the games that not everyone has. Dragon Age has long been a place where LGBTQIA plus folks can see people like themselves represented respectfully. It's inherently very queer. So there you go. Games director confirming that the game is inherently very queer. And you can see that in the character design, the music. What did Max MK3 here say? The silly tone. It's all what it is. It's all queer. It's all queer. And he goes on and says, and it's such a rare thing for marginalized communities to have representation where we feel proud and powerful in how we are depicted. Yeah. If this is what makes you feel proud and powerful, uh, surprise, that's not it. It's not it. It's so deeply meaningful for so many. I often get emotional when I think about what it would have meant for a younger version of myself to see someone like him in a game and as a hero, no less. I hope we can be a safe place for queer players to know they are not alone, that they are brilliant and worthy, that they are not only welcome, but celebrated. Again, these people are trying to celebrate this degeneracy. They are trying to celebrate disordered behavior. They are trying to convert people to living these destructive lifestyles that they have been embraced. Study back in 1970 by a guy trying to promote all this stuff, Kinsey. He surveyed, I guess it was maybe not a study isn't the right word, but he surveyed a bunch of sodomites back in the 1970s, and 80% of respondents said they were not born that way. In fact, most of them claimed that they happened to live that lifestyle because they were either abused or there was things happening in their environment. It had nothing to do with them being born that way, and that was in the 1970s. And so these people are literally trying to shape environments in order to make new people or get new people to join their degenerate, destructive lifestyles. It's sick, it's evil, and I hope that this company, BioWare, does indeed go out of business for promoting this type of evil. Nevertheless, Bush goes on and says that the game being inherently very queer is in the game. He said this: game directors are sometimes thought of as big personalities who are singularly responsible for the purity of their creative vision. But for me, it's really about being a steward for the vision that we as a team have collectively defined. I get a high level view of everything as it's coming together and can steer the project as it does. But ultimately, it's about empowering people to work together, play with ideas, offer critiques, and make decisions, all to help create a cohesive experience for the player. How much do you want to bet that anyone who had a critique of this gender confused Canary was told to sod off? This is the agenda that we're putting. Don't believe for a second that they were not trying to push this agenda and they were silencing anyone who spoke up against it that was still potentially working at BioWare. And we know that this company has lost a numerous amount of top level executives over the past couple of years while this game was in development. People who had been there for over 20 years at BioWare left while this game was in the works. And who knows why they left. Some of them have kind of said that they were moving on to new projects. Others haven't really said anything. But I would be hard pressed to not imagine that there were some people that left because of this obviously pushing of the woke ideology. And we know what happens with these games. They turn into failures like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, as one of those users posted up here. One of those people posted up here on YouTube, because I predict that is indeed what is going to happen with this game. It's going to be a massive, massive failure. But let me know what you guys make of all of this. What are your expectations for Dragon Age, the Veilguard? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.